I got this from the New York Post. Knife-wielding passenger turned my flight on a dream trip into a horror movie. I'm never flying economy again. Okay, I don't know if it's an economy issue. The Space Invader took stranger danger to new heights, literally. Sure, it's hard getting comfy at 30,000 feet, but one impolite elderly plane passenger terrorized her seatmate during a 14-hour Qatar Airways flight, leaning and stretching out across the woman's body, poking her with bare feet, and pointing a knife in her direction after being reprimanded by cabin crew members. Oof. This flight turned into a horror movie. Essie, a travel influencer, captioned the first vid in a viral TikTok trilogy featuring scenes from her nightmarish encounter with the intrusive nuisance. PSA, Essie warned her more than 48.2 million viewers. If you lean on strangers mid-flight, don't. That should be common sense. It's sage advice that seems like common sense. Still, janky jet setters commonly commit the senseless sin or worse. From the man-spreading menaces who thoughtlessly take up the limited space in those cramped airplane rows. Well, man-spreading is actually a sexist term towards men, so don't say that, New York Post. To the careless cooks who assault fellow flyers with the stench of their funky foodstuffs? Not foot. Well, I don't know. Some people take their shoes off on the plane, too. Air travel isn't for folks with weak stomachs, but the troublemaker seated next to Essie takes the cake. So here's a picture, and yeah, she literally has how did she get a knife on the plane? That doesn't seem safe. After repeatedly asking the older woman, who did not speak English, to refrain from leaning on her shoulder and resting on her lap, wow, the content creator flagged down a flight attendant, hoping the staffer would mitigate the mess. Unfortunately, however, the intervention only angered the discourteous senior, who ultimately brandished a knife. I'm taking this knife hold as a threat, Essie wrote in the closed caption of the clip, calling the flight attendant back. I'm taking this knife as a threat, calling the flight attendant back. Yeah, here, that's literally a knife pointed in her direction. And then we actually have video of this. Okay, so here, we'll play that video in just a second. And then, what does it say here? Subsequent footage from the hellish trip shows the older woman touching and grabbing Essie's body and belongings with her hands and feet. It's taking everything in me not to rage aggressively and push this lady away from me, she groaned. This is really unacceptable. Thankfully, before things turned violent, the man seated beside Essie and her bully moved to a different chair, freeing up his seat for the woman to lie down comfortably. But that didn't stop her from being an annoyance. While sprawled across two seats, the old lady rudely positioned her bare feet in Essie's direction. One thing I don't play about is feet. I almost lost it for the 10th time. And then, well, this is part 3. I don't know why they're sharing part 3 specifically, but let's watch this. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
The freaking music. I don't want the music. Yeah, we don't need the music. I just went to the restroom for a few minutes and came back, and Granny laid out on all 3 seats and proceeds to touch my belongings. I immediately went to the flight attendant again. Here. Turn it down. Come on, turn it down. Oh my gosh, grab the volume. There we go. That's ridiculous. Well, I mean, what would you guys do? What would you guys do here? Lady just keeps touching your stuff. She's sprawling out on all your seats. The FAA is a nice... Wait. The FAA is being too nice and patient because aren't you tired? We've been at this back and forth for hours now. This about your millionth time having to come over here. Yeah, I know. The flight attendants probably just don't want to escalate things because they'll have to land. And she's just like refusing to move. And then here she is. She's like laying on her. Rested my eyes for a little bit. Wait. Rested my eyes for woke up to her having switched the other side and feet near me. And one thing I don't play about is feet. I almost lost it for the 10th time. It's just feet. I don't know if I mean if her feet stink. I would say yeah. Move your feet, lady. Oh, yep. See, this is why you don't fly on this is why you don't fly on planes. So that was your first mistake, was going to Qatar. Outraged social media spectators commented on, commended Essie for keeping her cool for the duration of the flight. Quote, I feel like she was doing it on purpose, no matter the culture or age difference. She knew better. You're too nice for me. She was going to understand English that day, another joked. A knife, the way I would be contacting media saying I was held at knife point during my flight and there was no resolution. Yeah, no, that's probably the most egregious thing here, is that she literally has a picture of this lady pointing a knife at her and like nothing happened to this lady. Unpopular opinion, old people do not get a pass to be intolerable. No, I think that's fair. I do not care how many wars you've lived through or how many miles you walked with holes in your shoes to get to school in 1952. Acting with common decency is not restricted to the young. Absolutely. Here. I think a lot of boomers nowadays forget sight of that. And then when they get proven wrong on things, they rather just point out your age and how much more experience they have than actually prove you wrong. That's what I've noticed. I've noticed a lot of people that are older than me, they won't actually say I'm wrong. They'll just say I'm younger than them. Therefore, my opinion is invalidated, which is it just makes it all the more funny to me, because it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to keep going on having the same opinion then, because you didn't disprove me at all. So, oops. What do you guys, holy ish? Oh, that's the comment from earlier. Anyway, we're going to move on. Let's see what other stories we can find.